Getting started with HERO-RMM. Step 3. It is now time to create your first protection job. To do so, please log into the HERO portal at heroportal.heroware.com. Next, from the top menu, please select HERO-RMM. This is our remote monitoring and management tool. Log in using the credentials provided for you. If you do not have credentials, please contact HERO-RMM and we will provide you with those credentials. Next, from the left pane, please select HERO-RMM Defender. Now let's walk through those necessary steps. So HERO-RMM has partnered with Kaseya. We have integrated our management console into the Kaseya interface for easy management, setup, failover, and monitoring of your Defender hardware and protection jobs. So I'm going to take you through that process today, what it looks like. I know many of you have received your logins and you probably have played around a little bit in there, but let's go through this video and make it very obvious on how we intend to use this tool. So first off, to get there, we like everybody to go through the HERO portal. The HERO portal is at heroportal.heroware.com. This portal is really the front end to all of our services and where you'll find guides and videos and training. So go ahead and log into the portal with your login information. If you have not registered, please do so by clicking on register and you will receive your information via email. So for now, I'll go ahead and log in as me. Once you're inside the portal, you have access to agent downloads, guides, training videos, things like that. This is the administrator's view, so of course I can see some people who are online, and I have access to different utilities that we use. Here's our secure cloud utility for managing the back end of your secure cloud clients. Here's the support portal, and this is Defender RMM. So we're going to go here to the RMM tool and go ahead and log in. You should have received your login information. If you haven't, please get a hold of us and we will be sure to get you your login information for the RMM. So once you're in here, you'll have a view on the side here. You click it and you can see the other views. You will not have this full view, you have limited view. I am again the administrator. But in this view here, you go into the Defender view. You'll have the Defenders and the Secure Cloud. You won't have the dashboard yet because we are finalizing the dashboard for all of our users. That will be a very new product even for Kaseya that allows us to create very specific dashboards that have to do with not only the appliance hardware and software, but also how the protection jobs are performing for each one of your Defenders. So in this Defenders dashboard, you will see on the right hand side over here we have our Defenders. So if it is green, that means it's online and it's running. If it's not green, then it's offline. So this is an offline machine. It's gray. It's no longer there. So if I highlight that machine, I'll get information on that machine down here in the bottom. But let's talk about the top pane first. We have the appliance, which in this case is an HP Defender. The org, which is your org. So this is HERO-RMM internal. You can pull down here in the machine group and you will have your org. So you want to click on your org. If you wanted a specific machine, you would put that machine ID here. Otherwise, you'd clear out this one and you would get all the machines that are under your org. This gives you access to what space is being used, how much space is being used, who's the default login credentials for this machine, the activation code on that machine, and then some information about how many jobs are protected, how many jobs are mirroring, how many jobs have failed over, are there any VMs running, and the last time the agent checked in. You can see this agent hasn't checked in for 7+ hours because that machine is not online. So that's the top. If I've highlighted a machine up here, I'm getting all the information and managing that machine down here in the bottom pane. In the General Info tab, this is where you're going to find the information about that machine. and then the Defender job statistics. This is basically this same information from the top, but I've now given it to you in a view down here at the bottom. The first thing you want to do is you want to go in and set the Defender credentials. Again, the Defender credentials, please view the setup guide online at support.heroware.com. Look for the Defender setup guide. That's got very, very good information in it about how to set up your users and your groups. Basically, you want a super user that's a domain admin that has rights, local admin rights on each box that you're protecting and also on the Defender. So this user has permissions across the domain to manage the double take replication to our Defender. So you'll set the default credentials here, and you'll put in my case, I have the domain and the administrator and then the password. So I put that in there and I click on store and it'll store that password. Mine's already stored, so I don't need to save that, but you'll store that, and that's where you'll have your default credentials. So the first step is you want to create a protection job. So you have this Defender in your environment. You've already loaded the agent software on your production machines, and you go to the Create Protection tab. In the Create Protection tab, we're going to get a view of all the servers in your environment that have that agent, that double take agent loaded on it. I'm going to have quite a few because we do a lot of testing around here, but I'm going to go ahead and take the demo production. I'm going to take the demo production. I'm going to either click on Add Protection up here, or I can right click and select Add Protection. When I add protection, I'm going to use that Defender default credentials for this entire protection job, and I'm going to select a drive where I want to store these VHDs. We're going to create a VHD in Hyper-V for the replication, and I'm going to select the location. I'll go ahead and select the E drive in this case and select Protect. In the background, we're doing all the assumptions. We're selecting the CPUs, we're selecting the amount of RAM, we're selecting what size we want the disks to be in Hyper-V, and we're doing so behind the scenes and pre-allocating and pre-provisioning this VHD and getting it ready to go. So protection provided, and the next step is to click on the Protected Servers tab, and you'll see the job info come up here and let us know what exactly is going on in this job. The first thing it's doing is initializing those virtual disks. So it has to create those VHDs and initialize them before we connect to the double take service, which will begin the actual mirroring of the data, the baseline data of your production server, over into that VHD while it's accepting replication from any real-time activity. So we're going to wait on this job, the activity, to change to mirroring, and then we will move from there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and refresh. It takes about 2 minutes, and I didn't want to waste that time here, to create the disks and then start mirroring that data. So I'll go ahead and refresh now, and that activity should change, creating the disks and moving to a different process. So it's now synchronizing, which means that it's mirroring the baseline data from the demo production to the HP Defender. So the Defender is now accepting that real-time that mirror, that baseline mirror of the system state, the applications, the data, and then at the same time it's accepting replication of any new data that is being produced on that production machine. So while that's going on, let's talk about a few of these other things on this line. So here are the recent errors, if there are any. This is how many gigabytes have been sent. This is how many gigabytes are left remaining. This is may start. No, you can't start it because it's already started. May stop. Yes, you may stop this job. Yes, you may. May fail over. No, because you can't fail over until this is fully protected. Once it's fully protected, you could fail over. May remove. Yes, I can remove this job now if I wanted to. And may undo. No, undo has to do with the test failover, undo test failover. So those are the things on this line. Let's talk about these things up here, managing the job from here. I can start a job, I can pause a job. So if I needed to pause a job for whatever reason, I needed to pause a job, I could pause it here, then start it again. I could also stop it, then start it again. Pausing simply leaves it in its current state and queues up any change data on your production machine, and then when you start it again, it will send over that data. If you stop it, it will start from fresh again when you start. If you remove a job, it will ask you, do you want to remove the job only or the job and the associated replica virtual machine that you've created. So be careful on this. If you don't remove the virtual replica machine and you set up a new job, you would have to go in and rename that virtual replica machine, because it will by default take that same name, and then it'll think that there's two jobs running. So you can't do that. So test failover. Test failover will pause all of the mirroring and replication. Speaking of which, let's refresh this and see where we are. There's refresh buttons all along in Kaseya, because Kaseya, its default refresh mechanism is slow, but only slow because we have a lot of machines all hitting this one server. So it's just best practice just to do your own refreshing. If you don't see anything in there correctly, just refresh it. You can refresh it from the buttons. You can refresh it by clicking on the Defenders tab over here on the left, or of course you can refresh it by refreshing the entire screen. So we're moving along here. So test failover pauses all the double take replication, all of the replication to the Hero Defender, and spins up this VHD off the network. When that VHD is spun up off the network, it's then accessible to you. If you go right into our Defender and open up the VHD Hyper-V Manager, you can open up the machine, log onto it, see that it fails over, see that it connects, look at your real-time data up to the second. Then when you're done, don't shut off the VHD, just select Undo Test Failover. This will shut down that VHD automatically and reconnect all the replication services so that you re-mirror again, make sure that both sides are exactly the same. This live failover, this is your contingency. This is it. This is your contingency. So if you have a failover condition, production server is down, click on live failover, this will spin up the VHD on the network and run that production machine in production with its same name and IP address and everything. It'll be the production machine failed over. That gives you a chance to then, on your time, fix that production machine because everyone's up and running. And this is a 3 to 4 minute process. It's going to disconnect all of the replication. It's going to disconnect, make sure that the queues are flushed. It's going to then hand off all of the processes to Hyper-V. Hyper-V will then spin up that VHD. That VHD will go through its booting up process just as if it was booting up from scratch any other machine, and you'll log into it and that machine will be up on the network. Let's go through a few of these other tabs. So we've gone through General Info, Create Protection, Protected Servers, Transaction Log, basically the latest transactions that have gone down on this machine. The Defender Log, if there are any errors or if there are any things that are going wrong, we can always look through this Defender Log and find out exactly what's going on. We report just about every single transactional thing that happens on this machine, so we always know what's going on. The Virtual Machines tab basically shows you what virtual machines are on the Defender. In this case, we should see one virtual machine, but it should be stopped because we don't write to an open VHD, we write to a closed VHD and we spin it up and start it when it's ready. So when you do a test failover, this will turn to started. If you do a real failover, a live failover, this will move to started as well. So we get back to the Protected Servers tab and we can refresh and see how we're doing. We should be moving along about halfway through now. Yeah, so we're pretty close. We're at 43%. So I will go ahead and pause this presentation until we get to 100%, and then we'll come back. Okay, we're getting close. We're at 72.1%. So a few more minutes and we'll be complete. Okay, so that took a little bit over 8, almost 9 minutes, but then again it is only 23 gigabytes. So we normally see about 200 gigs an hour being mirrored over across a 1 gig LAN. So it's actually pretty fast to do that initial protection job. And now it's protected. So that means that in this line, I may start, no, because it's already started. I may stop, yes. I may fail over, yes. I may remove it, yes. And I may undo, no, because I'm not in a test failover condition. So we've created protection. We've monitored this protection job. We know what we can and can't do. If I was to select remove right now, I would get this box to remove the job and the replicas, or the job only, or both. I'm going to do neither. If I want to test failover, this is where I could select test failover, and it processes that command. Failover test initiated. So now it goes out and it looks at the defender, comes back, reports back through the Kaseya interface what is now going on. It's failing over, disconnecting from the service, and that will fail over to the drives. So we'll go to the virtual machine tabs, and we'll be able to see here the virtual machines, and we'll be able to see when this moves over to a state where it has failed over and is started. So it's right about 3 minutes for failover, so let's go ahead and refresh this screen here. And we're looking for a started state here. So now this is now in started mode. If I went back to Protected Servers tab, I'd be able to refresh this screen, which should say that it's failed over. Here it's still reporting failing over, so I refresh it, go out to the machine, go back through the Kaseya service, bring it back here, and it is failed over for test. Test failover completed. So again, the virtual machine has started, but we don't know. So let's go take a look at it. We can click into this machine by clicking on the green mark. It opens up the Live Connect, and then through Live Connect, I can then, well, as soon as it connects, I can then remote right into the machine and see exactly what's going on. I can take a look at the Hyper-V, and then I'll know that that machine has failed over. So from here I can just check quickly. I can RDP, do my RDP session, and then I'll log in. As a local administrator. So we've opened up the Hero Defender, that HP Defender, and we're going to go into Hyper-V Manager, where we're going to see the production machine, and it's running here in Hyper-V because we test failed it over. So that's where you could double click on this machine, then log into the machine and go ahead and look at it. Because I'm in a recording session, it doesn't like to allow me to log in. But go ahead and log into your machine, and you have full access to view all the details in there. It's not in read-only mode, so any changes you make here, when you undo test failover, it will sync the machines back up again. So that is test failover. Now I don't have to turn that off. I'll disconnect from this remote session, and I'll disconnect from this Live Connect screen, and I'll come back here where I'm still in started mode, and the protected server still says test failover. It should pop up here and say test failover. And then once we're in this test failover view here, and I've clicked on it, I can undo test failover. The first thing that undo test failover is going to do is go turn off that virtual machine. So that virtual machine, when I go to the virtual machines tab, will report stopped. So undo failover initiated. So it's going to undo that. It's going to undo that failover. It's going to stop the virtual machine. It's going to connect the replication again. It's going to do a difference check, a difference mirror to make sure that everything's copacetic on both ends. And once it does that, it'll be back into a protection state again. So the state of this virtual machine now is going to report back that it's stopped. It's been automatically stopped. So we go back to the protected servers tab, and here again it's reattaching to the disks because it had detached, handed all the processes over to Hyper-V. Now it's reattaching all of the mirroring and replication processes back over to the double-take service. Next, please move to step 4.